welcome into Between the Pylons. What did I just miss right at the jump there? What did I miss?
Nothing, man.
No,
We're good.
okay.
Just do our normal thing.
Welcome to Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho.
And this is Jacob Waters.
And thank you so much for watching or listening. Second episode with the YouTube channel. I'm still excited. I was just as excited earlier, but I'm still excited. I got the notifications from everybody. I will stop messing with the wall here. I apologize.
You have problems,
I know, man. I couldn't help it.
I do fine over here. I don't touch stuff.
You're good. All right, so we got a great show for you guys today. We are moving on with our segment. We're going division by division, breaking it down, giving you the
we go
the
AFC,
over-unders.
NFC. Boom, boom, boom.
So we're doing NFC East this week. If you're interested in the AFC East, check out last week's video. If you're interested in a different division, subscribe and check out multiple videos in the future.
I wore the wrong shirt.
Did you?
Does that look like NFC East to you?
That doesn't look like NFC East, no.
I got the conference right. Let's
Yeah,
go
it's
on.
good. It's a nice shirt. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So, and after that, we are doing our top 5 hopes for the season. We're gonna be hopeful.
I like
here.
this one too.
Yeah, because last week we were kind of downers. We were like, top 5 head coaches.
Which grown man's gonna lose their job?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which person who hit the precipice of their career is gonna fall back to earth? So what?
What'd you say?
Precipice.
No, I mean, yeah, dude. I'm deep in my vocabulary too.
Yeah, okay.
Plethora.
So this week we're going to be a little bit hopeful, and then at the end of the video or the podcast, whatever you want to call it, we have a interview. We talked with Dylan, our good friend, about the Vikings. Going to be a good one. A little loud, a little noisy there.
Yeah, he's a UPS driver, so he's got a lot going on,
Yeah.
and a lot of wind in the background.
Yeah,
but we're gonna get through it.
It was good. It was a fun one. All right, so we'll get started here with the NFC East. I almost said AFC East. That was last week. Let me ask you this: who's the top team? Let's start from top to bottom.
It's the Cowgirls.
I agree. It's got to be the Cowboys, right? The Cowboys. I mean, they just have an absolutely loaded team. They have an absolutely loaded draft. I mean, it was amazing already.
I know you're not big on Mike McCarthy coming in. I really am. I think he's one of those guys who's going to take this talent and utilize it to the best of its ability. I mean, seriously, I truly think they have a top 5 offense. They have a top 10 caliber defense when you look at talent. Yes, their secondary is lacking there. There are other ways you can work around that, though. And in a weak division where you get to beat up on the New York Giants and the Washington Redskins, that's 4 games.
Yeah, and then you have a shot against the Eagles. Obviously, the Eagles are going to be good.
I would say they split with the Eagles.
Yeah, at the very least, that's 5 wins right there. There should be 5 wins. Granted, I mean, every game's a game, but still. I absolutely agree. And then, I mean, we would be talking about the Cowboys as a good team if it weren't for their draft, right? I feel like we'd be excited.
And then add on what they were able to acquire.
Man,
shoot.
I mean, CeeDee Lamb in the first round. Trayvon Diggs, who, I mean, was in a lot of people's top 5 corner. I mean, I don't think he was for us, but, I mean, he was in a lot of people's top 5 corner. And they get them in the second. They get Neville Gallimore out of Oklahoma in the third. I mean, just a ridiculously good draft. And then your guy was all the way down in the 5th round. Yeah, Bradley and Nye in the 5th round.
They got Tyler Biotis too.
Tyler Biotis out of Wisconsin.
Stop.
Dude, ridiculous.
That's
draft.
a good draft.
Ridiculous draft. Yeah, absolute A+ draft. So let's go here with it. Over under 9.5 wins. Over for me too.
I would be willing to bet actual money on that. Like that's how comfortable I feel.
Yeah, we always talk about gambling, rarely actually bet on it.
Yeah, it's easy to just talk about. It's one thing to actually put the money.
Yeah. So no, and it's one of those things. Like we said, we named off 5 games we think they're automatically going to win. We don't have to go through the list to get to 10. It's not going to be that hard to get to 10. So yeah, I absolutely agree. Some of the free agent moves. I mean, they signed Andy Dalton as the backup. What do you think about Dak Prescott in his future?
I think they're going to have to pay him. I think there is a reason they're waiting so long, though. I do. Do you think he's truly a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League?
No, I don't. No, I don't think.
Okay.
There's always going to be 5 quarterbacks I can name ahead of him.
Who do you like more, him or Kirk Cousins?
That's tough. Yeah, it depends on the week, but I guess probably Andy Dalton, or excuse me, probably Dak Prescott. I said Andy. Probably Dak Prescott more often.
Give me the red rocket over all of them. Andy Dalton. That's what I want for $7 million.
My bad.
Maybe Jerry's trying to send a message here. I don't know.
Man, yeah, no, I can't disagree. I think
Dak wants to be the first $40 million guy.
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much for Dak. And I like Dak a lot. I think
what'd they offer him and he turned down? 34 or 36?
I think it was 36, right?
36, and he said no?
Yeah.
The next number is 40.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And I think Andy Dalton's just one of those moves where it's like, you got to get, I mean, the Eagles did it, always seem to do it, always seem to value that backup quarterback position very highly. And I mean, I think Andy Dalton's going to be a great backup. I really do. They lose Byron Jones, replace him in the second round with Trevon Diggs. I mean, that was pretty good value there as far as not paying Byron Jones to be the highest paid corner. You pay Amari Cooper, and then you pair him up with CeeDee Lamb. That's going to be ridiculous.
So they didn't even have plans to take CeeDee there. They didn't even want a receiver. I heard they didn't even talk one-on-one with CeeDee.
No, they probably had no expectation of him being there at 17 overall. Just worked out that way. Yeah.
That's a steal.
Ridiculous. All right, so we'll go through here with the Eagles. They're also a 9.5 over/under, and that's a tougher one. That's one where I really start to think, especially when you look at, I mean, and granted, it's kind of hard to base it on the draft. Sorry. It's kind of hard to base it on the draft, but I mean, Jalen Reagor in the first doesn't sound pretty. They valued speed at the wide receiver position. I'm going to take
the under. They're trending down right now, and I'm buying it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it. That's tough. I don't know.
It's still a great defense. It's still a good coach. It is still Carson Wentz.
Yeah, and then in the same way we gave Cowboys 5 wins, I mean, I can still give the Eagles those same 5 wins.
I know.
I mean, so that's a tough one.
Are we going to have the guys who win the division? So Cowboys over, Eagles over. Are they both going to be? And it's happened before. 10 and 11 wins. That can happen easily.
Yeah, that I just see
the Eagles always do that 9-7.
Yeah, and it's also one of those things where it's like, I mean, we're talking about the worst division in football last year. Realistically, I mean, this was the worst division in football last year. Are they both going to be? Is it going to be that much of a turnaround? I don't know. I mean, the Eagles are a really good team because they just got absolutely decimated with injuries last year. So I think their roster is really good talent wise. Injuries can linger. You never know with stuff like that, but that's tough. You're saying under. I guess to be different, I could say over, but yeah, I'd probably lean under too. Yeah, I'll stick with under. But let's go through some of their picks. The big ones, obviously, Jalen Reagor in the first round. That was really bad. Taking Jalen Hurts in the second. I mean, that was crazy. Which you liked it, right? You liked that.
Jalen Hurts in the second? Yes, I do.
Now, do you like it for the Eagles, or do you like the value of the player? Because I know you like Jalen Hurts in the second. I knew you came into the draft liking that.
So I mean. Yeah, why not the Eagles? I mean, let's take a team who was actually taking a backup and won a Super Bowl with him. I think it's a good spot, a good offensive mind for him to be with.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I actually went back and watched Jalen Hurts in college last year, watched some of his college film with a buddy of mine, and we went through and just watched Jalen Hurts because we were kind of on different ends of the spectrum as far as like how we feel about the player.
You don't like him at all.
No, and that's really not true because even when we started, I'm just kind of going back to a different conversation that wasn't even with you, but like I remember saying to this guy, is like, I think he should have been drafted. I thought second round was a lot, and that's just when I get into value. I'm a draft nerd, so like I'm really hard on certain things like that. Like, and you've called me out with stuff like that. At the end of the day, I see the backup ability and I see the upside. I mean, he's incredibly athletic. I think we pulled on one game. I don't even remember who it was against. It might have been Baylor, where like the first play is like a 90-yard touchdown. It was just like it's like, okay, well, this is a bad start for me.
He has the X factor.
Yeah, I know, and I absolutely agree. And then you take that into account with like the leadership ability that I 100% believe in and things like that, the intangibles. Yeah, I get it. I really do. I've come around on it a little bit. I still think he's a project, but I mean, he goes to the Eagles where he's not expected to be a starter, and he's gonna get in like just the same way Taysom Hill gets those snaps, the same way a lot of these backups that are just athletic get to have a couple snaps here and there for like gimmicky plays. He's gonna get those with the Eagles, and that's gonna be fun. I mean, that's always gonna be exciting. I mean, I'll be watching Game Pass every single week and waiting for him to show up on screen. They'll flip over and wait for something cool to happen. So that's gonna be fun. I mean, yeah. So I get it. I thought it was a good fit. I was more surprised for the Eagles just because I thought there were a lot of needs, and at 53 overall, I felt like there were a lot of guys on the board still that the Eagles probably could have attacked. But I mean, I get it.
They have one of the more controversial drafts, and I will say not good drafts. I don't like where they went with Reagor. There's a chance that he could pan out. It's not my cup of tea personally. Hey, I had him in the second round.
You were jumping for joy when that happened.
Oh yeah, I mean the Vikings got Justin Jefferson. My day was set. Yeah. I like Quez Watkins out of Southern Miss a lot. He's really good.
He's had some off the field issues, but yeah, no, I do like him a lot as well. I agree. It's up and down. You took 2 Auburn offensive linemen, so that's scary. Sorry, buddy.
Man, you're just dumping on me, dude. Prince Tate is a big physical raw body. You never know.
Yeah.
Jack Driscoll, he's a good starter.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. So at 9.5, you're saying under. I'm saying over. Yes. We already talked about that, so we'll go through. Not a lot of big free agent moves for them either. So not a whole lot to talk about there.
Darius Slay.
Darius Slay, they traded for Darius
That's
Slay.
a big
I didn't
one.
have that
I
on
like
there because
that
it was
acquisition.
a trade. Yeah, no, that was a good trade. That was a good. They had to make it because they lost out on Byron Jones. The Dolphins, it was just big bank take a little bank situation. But Dolphins are able to bid more for Byron Jones, and then it's like you need to get a top end corner. I mean, they needed.
Oh, they got one in Darius Slay too.
Yeah, and they get it. I'm really excited for the upside, and if Carson Wentz, because it's all predicated on what are we going to see Carson Wentz do, and if we see Carson Wentz be the NFL MVP caliber player that he was before he got hurt in that Eagles Super Bowl season. And I mean, I always go back to that, and the more I talk about it, the farther away it becomes, and the less it starts to be relevant. I get that. He's had a lot of injuries since then. He may never come back to that point, but man, I still believe in it. I think it's going to be my last year.
Last year was a good Wentz year, though.
Yeah, no, it was.
How much did he throw for? I think it was 4,500 or 4,000.
Yeah,
and he didn't have one receiver.
He made something out of nothing. Yeah,
exactly.
I absolutely agree with that. I think there's another level to his game that he truly can get to.
The problem is that I don't think they got him a lot more somethings to throw to.
Yeah, I get that they went for speed. They traded for Marquise Goodwin late in the draft. They essentially sent a 7th round pick to the 49ers for Marquise Goodwin, another speed guy who's always injured.
They have Djax back, don't they?
Djax, but he was hurt all year last year, so that's why I meant another speed guy who's always injured. So yeah, no, I get it. So like, man, if you can get all 3 of those guys in the same field, you don't have 3 guys on the defense that's fast enough to keep up with.
It's the way the league's going nowadays.
Yeah,
Speed kills.
No, absolutely. So that would be interesting. I think the Eagles could be a really interesting team. They're one of those wild card teams that could go a lot of different ways and really screw up a lot of different teams' plans this year. I do think that. But let's get into it with a couple of these other teams that probably aren't going to be in the conversation come November and December.
That's for sure.
The Giants at 6.5 wins. Before you give me what you think on that, they add Joe Judge to quarterback, who was the special teams coordinator for the Patriots, and neither of us are. I think I was higher on it than you were, as far as just I got it. But at the end of the day, it was hiring a guy because he knew Nick Saban and he knew Bill Belichick, and that seemed like all they needed. But if you're getting 2 glowing reviews from those 2 guys, I can see it. But I do understand as well. It was definitely a strange move. I don't think
not a lot of names out there to hire, but Joe Judge, oh my gosh, didn't know who it was when he got hired.
Yeah, it was one of those moves where it's like that is just you're swinging for the fences, and there's a big chance that you miss. So I get it. Obviously, Eli Manning retires. That has to be on there. That's just. I mean, you lose a legend of the game. I don't. There's nothing else.
Wow, you called him a legend of the game.
He's a legend of the game. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not arguing it. I've always felt like that.
For what he did.
I didn't know where you stood by that.
Yeah. No, look, the past 3 or 4 years have been bad, and that taints a lot of fans and a lot of people's minds. And he should not have been the starter the past 3 years. I'll say that. But man, I mean, are we going to take away that Super Bowl run? Are we going to take away that
2 of them?
Yeah, 2 of them. Are we going to take away those games? I mean, the clutch factor's there. Like, I mean, at the end of the day,
you should love him because your Dolphins still hold the record for the undefeated season.
I've been an Eli fan ever since that moment. Absolutely.
He's a Patriot killer.
Yeah, he's a Patriot killer. Absolutely. Shit, the NFC East is a Patriot killer. Only division to beat him. Yeah. It's interesting. I liked what they did in the offseason. They came into the draft and said, we are going. Excuse me, not in the offseason, in the draft. They went and said, we're going to fix the offensive line. With our first 3 picks, we're going to take 2 offensive linemen, obviously get Andrew Thomas, high floor type of guy out of Georgia at number 4 overall, go back around, get Xavier McKinney, the safety out of Alabama.
Love that he was able to fall to them.
Yeah, that was a great pick. And then get Matt Pert at the top of the 3rd round, actually at the bottom of the 3rd round, with UConn at number 3.
Well, and then Shane Lemieux in the 5th round out of Oregon too. He's very versatile, going from center to guard. Some say.
Yeah, I mean, you got 3 offensive linemen in the top 50 picks.
Hope one of them hits, and at the worst, one of them hits, and you got a good start.
You hope 2 of them starts, and if you're in a perfect world, 3 of them can start. And I mean, that offensive line was terrible last year, so they got better at a position. They protect Daniel Jones, who I'm not going to sit here and defend, but he showed signs.
I'll defend him.
Yeah, he showed a lot of signs
on a terrible team. And
okay, good. I was wondering where I didn't want to be too like.
No, I like Daniel Jones.
It. Yeah, I agree. Okay.
No Odell. Their best receiver was an undrafted, or maybe 5th round or something.
It was 5th round. Darius,
out of Auburn.
Yeah,
and now he's one of their best guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Golden Tate's coming back, but he's so old, and he's been injured the past couple of years. And then you have
Evan Ingram's hopefully going to start.
Yeah, the tight
going
a
little bit more and stretch it down the field.
Yeah.
You have Saquon, of course, who is a legend. They need Daniel Jones to take another step up. Yeah. So it can save Saquon.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree.
The injuries are a little concerning. Just saying that it could start to take a toll on him.
And that's the other part of it that we're not talking, or that you brought up. this offensive line isn't just for Daniel Jones. Saquon Barkley can actually run behind an offensive line for once in his career.
He can run without one.
Yeah, I mean, he's done so much with so little. So now give him just a little bit of help, man. He's gonna be an all-star. So yeah, I'm excited for where they're going. Obviously, Joe Judge is the huge wild card. You know, it could go a lot of different ways.
After all the positive Giants talk from me at 6.5 wins, under.
Yeah,
I have them at under.
Yeah,
I think they're going to be a top 5 pick next year's draft.
In the same realm that we gave the Giants and the Cowboys 4 wins. I got to give the Giants, or excuse me, the Eagles and the Cowboys 4 wins. I have to give the Giants 4 losses right there. Even if they split with the Redskins, that's 5. I mean, and that's just in the division. Then you're right. I have to agree. I think it's an under. That's a tough one though. 6.5.
If they do 7, they're going to start to turn some heads because they're still not close yet.
I feel like they're. Yeah, I do agree with that. I feel like they can be that pain because they were kind of almost that. Like for a couple of games in the middle of the season, they looked like they were going to be that pain in the ass team that just hangs around with the good teams for the first 3.5 quarters, you know, and
as long as Saquon's moving, he's got it.
Absolutely. So I mean, it's interesting. There's weapons there, definitely. But we'll move on
to the worst team in the National Football League.
You're that low on them.
Yeah, they're my bottom.
Wow. Yeah. No, I can't even argue with it. I love Ron Rivera. I'll start there. I didn't think his exit for the Panthers wasn't really fair to him. Granted, I understood it was a new owner. They wanted to get new blood. They wanted to kind of change the organization around. So it was just one of those situations where I felt like he was fired because of circumstance than really what he did. He lost his starting quarterback. What are you supposed to do? He did what he could with that team.
They threw him and Cam out.
Yeah, absolutely. So he comes to the Redskins, which is one of my least favorite franchises. Truly, just because of Schneider and the way he runs that organization. They've just botched so many moves, man. I mean, we don't have to go far. Trent Williams this year, and you can say what you want about Trent Williams, you know, not like being kind of piggy on where he wanted to go. There were rumors that he wanted to go to the Minnesota Vikings, and they offered more than the 49ers did.
And he said
no. They ended up sending him to the 49ers for a 3rd round pick next year and a 5th round pick this year. That's pretty cheap. That's pretty cheap when there are rumors that
Pro Bowl level.
Yeah, one of the top 5 tackles in the league. Some would say top 2 or 3. And then you add on top, they were offered a 1st round pick last year at the trade deadline, and they said no. And this was a guy who sat out. I
think they were holding out some faith that they could get him back and hopefully protect Dwayne Haskins.
It just feels like Schneider has his hands in that organization so much. There's so many moves that I can look to and be like, man, it just feels like that's a Schneider move. That's a Schneider move. Like they botched the Kirk Cousins move. Obviously,
they did.
They botched that really bad. That's historic. I mean,
they botched the RG3 one. Yeah. I've hung my head on that one for a long time.
I absolutely agree with that. So they come in here with the 2nd pick overall for a reason. They're able to get Chase Young, which I mean, there's no denying that defensive line is one of the best in the league.
Oh, you can't go wrong with that pick.
They have added so many assets to that defensive line. I mean, you go Jonathan Allen, Deshaun Hand.
At what point is it a bit much, though, constantly taking 1st round pick after 1st round pick after 1st round pick on that defensive line? I understand this year. I will not even entertain any other argument other than Chase Young. They got a true superstar there.
Yeah.
But isn't that 4 in the past 5 years that have come on D-line?
Yeah, it is, but I think it's kind of the same situation that the 49ers have been in for, you know, we're in for all those years. They spent a lot of 1st round picks, and everyone was kind of looking over their shoulder and being like, man, this is looking kind of scary. But I would argue the Redskins, I mean, the guys that are there are good. I mean,
they are.
I don't feel like there's...
That line's built by Bama pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're all good. They're performing in the NFL, which that was kind of the fear for the 49ers. There were players that weren't performing very well, and then they were able to turn it on. But anyway, I get it. I think if they're in a situation where it's defensive end or blank and they're about the same level, or a different defensive player, I think they probably go another direction. But you can't not take Chase Young there.
He was so far ahead.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of one of those situations where
Antonio Gibson in the 3rd.
A gadget type of player.
Yeah, kind of like a Scary Terry type of vibe to fit alongside of him because I know he's there doing good, but it doesn't do it for me.
And I've heard rumors that they want to move him to running back, and it's like, okay. you are not the team that can afford to take a running back early when you already have. I mean,
I like Terry McLaurin. I think he's due for a really good year.
I do too, absolutely.
I just don't think you help yourself by putting Antonio Gibson alongside of him.
He performed so well with nothing around him. I mean, he did. So like that's all him just being so good. And then they go wide receiver again in the fourth round, taking Antoine Golden out of Liberty, just a tall, lengthy wide receiver who's kind of a go up and get it guy. So I kind of get the way they're building their wide receiver core, especially if Antonio Gibson's supposed to be wide receiver. I think he should be. I think this is his better position in the long run. But you have the speed guy, you have the go up and get it 50-50 player, and then you have kind of the gadget slot type of guy who can do a lot of different things with the ball in his hands. So I get the way they want to build their wide receiver core. For me, it's a team building thing, and I don't believe in building your team with the skill players first. And it's like, hey, if you're a team that's building, if it's about building your team, I feel like you go trenches and out. That's just the way. That's just my philosophy in building your team. So that's kind of my issue with that altogether. And it sucks. You know, I look at their over under is 5.5. I can't see them winning 6 games. I can't.
Under.
Yeah. I and like you said, you think they're in conversation for Trevor Lawrence.
I do.
Yeah. No, that's a tough. That would suck for Trevor Lawrence. I'd be so sad for
Trevor
Lawrence.
I don't want that. There's a few franchises that I just do not want to. And not out of anything for my fanship, just for my genuine appreciation of talent.
Yeah, and
I want to see it preserved. I want to see it taken care of because Jacksonville Jaguars, gosh, please no. Just historically, it just doesn't look good for him to go there. Washington Redskins, I don't want him to go there.
Where would you want him to go? This is off topic a lot, but where would you want him to go?
A team that he
of the realistic teams he could go to. Don't say Patriots.
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I understand there's a world, and I've seen memes and stuff.
Realistically,
yeah,
it does get rough.
It does, yeah.
When you start thinking about it, because there are a lot of teams right now, and it's something. I mean, like you said, off topic, but it is something we can talk about right now. In saying that there is a high likelihood that the bottom team in the NFL will be somebody who already has the quarterback position at least somewhat solved. Cincinnati Bengals. They will not take Trevor Lawrence. No way whatsoever in any way.
I think there's a lot of teams that would pass on their young, promising player for Trevor Lawrence. I do believe that. Now, even
the Cincinnati Bengals will not.
Will not. Yeah, I think we both said how we like Daniel Jones, right? I think they would trade.
The Giants would, yeah.
I think they would trade Daniel Jones and sign Trevor Lawrence. I do.
Yeah.
I think if the Dolphins are in that situation, they probably trade Tua and sign Trevor Lawrence.
I think we're in the talks to see somebody do something stupid in a trade-up situation.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I think he's the type of guy where you jeopardize your whole franchise for it. Because other than that, there's a lot of teams that have the quarterback resolved. Yeah, so it's hard to pick just one.
I absolutely agree. All right, that was good. That was the
under 5.5.
Under 5.5. That was the NFC East. Let us know in the comments below what you think. If you're on YouTube, on your podcast, let us know. Tweet at us. All those good things.
Redskins fans.
Yeah. Sorry, Giants and Redskins fans and Jaguars fans. You were kind of mean to them too.
I feel I mean the Giants at least have Saquon. I love Saquon.
No, of course, yeah.
What do the Redskins have? Who's their jersey seller?
Chase Young now. I think it's just Chase Young. I would get a Chase Young jersey.
I could rock that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we'll move on to our top 5 hopes. There's going to be no negativity for the rest of this draft. Or for the rest of this podcast, all positivity. I'll let you go first. I went first last week.
I'm gonna go first.
Yeah, you're going first, bro.
All right, let me do it. Here we go. Number 5. This works for this right here. I'm wearing an Atlanta Falcons shirt. It is Todd Gurley's resurrection. So everyone pretty much burned him at the stake last year, said he was done, said this arthritis in his knee was going to cripple his career, and it didn't look good for a minute. I really don't like how McVay handled that situation and handled the Rams going forward. I think they could have made a push with Todd Gurley. He really helps out Jared Goff in that passing attack. He really helps him be able to stretch the ball down the field, and it just allows them to use the play action so much more with a Robert Woods. Throw him on a good Atlanta team and a team that could help Matt Ryan with the Calvin Ridley. They added, they already have Julio, of course. Let me not forget that. They added Hayden Hurst. So, I mean, they have a lot of first-round picks on that team. Throw him out there and let's see what he does. I would like to see him return to a top 5 running back in the National Football League.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I love that. And actually, my number 4 is going to be similar. I talked about the Falcons too, so that's awesome. But my number 5, Aaron Rodgers. I want Aaron Rodgers to shit on the Packers draft and win MVP. That's my hope. I think I want Aaron Rodgers to say, fuck you. I am not out of my prime. Dude, I love Aaron Rodgers.
I know.
I fuck you for taking a quarterback over a wide receiver in the first round.
Oh,
Fuck
yeah,
you
they
for
suck
never
for that.
giving fuck you for never giving me hope. Fuck you for trying to be a run and first football team when you have me, one of the greatest talent at quarterback position that we've ever seen. And I wanted to win MVP. I would love that. I think that'd be awesome. I don't expect it to happen, but I think
We said no negativity, so I will leave it at that. It would be cool to
let's
see.
hear it. Let's hear it.
I'm a Vikings fan. What do you think?
Oh,
Do you
okay.
think that I want to see
From a
Aaron
fan.
Rodgers step up and win MVP? Hell no.
Let me hear the negativity from a non-biased fan, or from a non-biased.
You're not going to get it from me. There's no way that I can separate my fanship and talk positive about Aaron Rodgers. This is the man who at any point, he has beat Minnesota so many times at Lambeau just because he's Aaron Rodgers. I hate it. We have an amazing defensive line, and he's somehow
just floats back in
just
the
an
pocket.
old white man able just to run around and just get away and throw 60-yard dots. I respect the ability. He is good. It would be a really nice FU to the Packers organization because I do feel for him. Yeah. I feel really bad because I'm a huge Brett Favre fan. And in seeing the same way that he gets treated in a lack of talent towards the end of his career, he had a really good team when he first got there. And then they start not making they never make the pretty moves, let's be honest. Yeah. Last year we kind of thought they did. They got the Smith brothers on defense. They added a few pieces at a splashy draft, having the 2 first-round picks. This year they could have shut it all down, and they got a backup quarterback. I will not listen to anything else. Aaron Rodgers, that's nice. Go give him a big FU to the Packers.
Yeah. It wasn't even a pro Packers thing.
Right?
It really wasn't.
Exactly.
It wasn't a pro Packers thing. It was a pro Aaron Rodgers.
It's Aaron
thing.
Rodgers being anti-Packers on the Packers.
Exactly.
I'm here for that.
Exactly.
Number 4, the Cleveland Browns, they pull it together. I've been on this train for a minute now. They have addressed the offensive line position. They got rid of the joke of a coach. They brought in Kevin Stefanski. We will see what he's about. It's time for Baker to show up. It's time for that offensive line to show up. And hopefully they can shut Odell up by getting him the ball.
I love that. That'd be awesome. I mean, you just have to feel for the Browns fans. Browns fans are probably one of the best fan bases in the world.
What?
Just because I see Browns fans everywhere.
Really?
And there's I mean, you never see a Jaguars fan. Of all the franchises I'm just saying like of all the franchises that are bad for a long time, historically bad.
If you're talking about historically bad teams that I see the most of, yeah, it's Cleveland fans.
It's Cleveland. So it's like the love in Cleveland is so real. I don't know. I respect stuff like that because I've been a fan of the Dolphins my whole life, and I haven't seen a playoff win. I've seen a couple playoff appearances, but I've never seen a playoff win personally. So it's like I
have no more excuses going forward, and I hope to see them do it. It is a really, really tough division.
Yeah. Really tough division, really tough schedule all around. Yeah,
it is.
Absolutely agree. All right, so my number 4, I kind of said I was a little bit echoing you at number 5, but it's a different take. It's really just, I want to see that offense come alive, just for football. Just for football's sake. The Falcons offense. Yes, absolutely. Sorry, I buried the lead. Just for the Falcons offense to be what they should be on paper. Yes. I mean, you have Julio Jones, you have Calvin Ridley, who I believe in. You just got Hayden Hurst there because you lost
Austin Hooper.
You lost Austin Hooper. Thank you. You got Todd Gurley. If Todd Gurley can do like you said, be Todd Gurley again, that would be amazing. There's just so many weapons, and I mean,
literally 11 first-round picks.
Matt Ryan's good. Their offensive line is good. There's no excuse for them not to be incredibly successful. I mean, there's just not, and I would love to see them be what they should have been for the past 3 or 4 years. I mean, what we saw the Super Bowl run that one year. Yeah. I mean, that offense was awesome. I mean,
throw the ball to Julio in the red zone.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things. I'd love to see that, and it kind of echoes what you said. So we'll move on there.
That's a good one. Yeah. Number 3, the birth of Burrow. That's the title that I wrote for.
Birth of Burrow. I like that.
Burrow.
That should be right here. That's beautiful.
I like it. I want to see Cincinnati get behind him. I want to see him embrace the city. And hopefully he can start to turn around. You talk about a franchise that I don't know any fans of.
Man.
Cincinnati Bengals. I have never met a Bengals fan in my life.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're out there, and I hope we start to see more of them. Yeah. I could rock a Joe Burrow jersey, no problem.
I absolutely could. No, I love Joe Burrow. I love the swagger. I'd love to see him. I would have liked to have seen him in a Miami Dolphins uniform, but other than that,
of course.
Other than that, man, that would be awesome. It just and that franchise, I feel they were so close for a couple years. Like they were right there. I mean, it seemed like they were in the playoffs.
Andy Dalton did
year,
get them to the playoffs
every single year, and they had a pretty good team around them, and just kind of fell off. Man, they're one of the cheapest organizations in the league. So that kind of scares me just from ownership thing. I'm so hard on owners, I know. But I would love to see that. The Cincinnati Bengals deserve a win, and AJ Green deserves a win. That there's so many guys on there that have stayed loyal. I'd love to see that.
Geno Atkins been there for a long time. They made a lot of good moves in free agency too.
Yeah, no, they absolutely did. All right. So my number 3, this is for Drew Brees. And honestly, after I'm just looking at it, this should be my number 1. I didn't really order them. I just wrote down 5. Drew Brees, Super Bowl. He deserves it. That's all I wrote. No, I want another one. I think Drew Brees is one of the guys. He deserves 2 Super Bowls. I get it. You're a Vikings fan.
I'm not hating on. No, we beat them every year in the playoffs. I'm fine with that. We can play them anytime they want. That's fine. Tell me when and where. We're good. No, I love Drew Brees the guy. I love Drew Brees the leader. I love Drew Brees the quarterback. And you are right. There is a difference that we hold them in regard with the 1 and 2 Super Bowl things.
Yeah, just like
he's never got an MVP. I'd rather see him get the MVP.
That'd be cool. I could sell for MVP. That's fine. I already said Aaron Rodgers MVP, so that's fair.
Yeah.
I just think, and it's also for a little bit
with the way that they have been screwed by the refs.
That's the other part of it. It's like, man, it's been 3 years in a row where either you want to call it refs or want to call it just. I mean, I thought last year was a fair play. It was just just unfortunate way to lose.
They still clung to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, they've had such heartbreaking losses. However you want to say it, just heartbreaking losses.
The city of New Orleans needs this.
Yeah, so I would love to see that. I mean, they were able to get the win right after Katrina all those years ago, and that was such a great moment. That was a great storyline. I wrote this based on storylines that I could see, and that's probably the biggest storyline just because I'm talking about Super Bowl.
And I think if he gets it, he's done.
Yeah, I think
he's 100% done. He gets to go out on the high horse, and he gets to go down as a top 5 quarterback ever to play.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree.
That's good.
Perfect.
Number 2, give me Super Cam.
Super
Cam right now, he's doing what he should do. He is constantly posting workout videos. The dude looks like an absolute unit. He looks like he has that same fire burning again. I want to see him back. Don't get me wrong here. I don't want to see any person hurt. I don't want to see any quarterback go down with a grueling injury of any kind. Mm-hmm. But it is a business. It is going to happen. Some team is going to lose their guy along the way. And Cam Newton is there, and I want to see him step up. And I would love to see him show what he's got with a good team around him, with good weapons, and lead a team to the playoffs. I really do. I know this is all circumstantial, and it's a big chance. So I want to see it.
So I was gonna ask, and I'm not going to. I don't want you to answer this because
asking where he's gonna go.
Yeah, I was gonna ask where you would like him to go, but then with that, it says you would be predicting an injury. I don't want you. To do that.
My prediction is for him to go somewhere. I think if the other spots that he could go right now is Washington, I feel so bad for Cam. I would just feel for him, man.
Yeah, that would be right.
I would like to see him do it.
I'd like to see him do it somewhere other than Ron Rivera land. You know what I mean? I'd like to see him be under a different coach.
Jacksonville's another mention, but I'm pretty sure they are good with Minshew. I think they just brought on some journeyman veteran too, so they're squared away. You know, I think it's one of those things where
somebody's gonna have to get hurt. Yeah,
Cam's gonna have to sit and wait, and if there's a team, I mean, Pittsburgh is one that's really intriguing to me if Big Ben goes down.
Yeah.
I saw one thing today talking about a potential Russell Wilson. You never know. They might just bring Cam on just to learn from it in a way.
I mean, we talked about it. If it wasn't last week, it was a couple weeks ago where we talked about how, there's not a lot of spots that he can realistically go to be a backup. Because like you said, Jacksonville, if he was a backup at Jacksonville, there's no way that every single damn practice, every single player on that team is looking at Cam Newton and saying, hey, he's got a lot. You know what I mean?
When
I like Minshew
see
a
that
lot.
Fire burning.
Exactly. And I'm not shitting on Minshew. I like Minshew a lot, but from a physical standpoint, you got to look at. You go to Seattle. Russ is a big enough star that he could stand in front of Cam Newton.
He could handle it.
Yeah, yes. Maybe not stature wise, but every other way.
He's 5'11".
Exactly. No, I like that. That would be an awesome one. And that was kind of one where I didn't put that on there because I knew Cam had to be on your list somewhere.
You knew it was coming.
I knew Cam had to be on your list. So number 2, this is a quarterback worthy as well, and probably a spot where Cam could conceivably go if it worked out the wrong way, I guess. Foles. I would love to see Foles not only earn his job, but earn a spot as a starting guy for a long term. I feel like his career is just so interesting. You go back to his first run with the Eagles when he had that awesome, 26-2 touchdown interception rate. Some crazy.
Yeah, it was a really good
Yeah,
stat line.
really good season there. Struggles, isn't able to get that starting role with the Rams, and then obviously has been a backup everywhere else. Won a Super Bowl as a backup. This podcast has touted the fact that he's the greatest backup of all time. I'd like to see him get that spot. I really would. I'd like to see him earn that starting job and be good, because he's been surpassed by a 6th-round pick that outperformed. He's just been surpassed everywhere, and now he's going to the Bears, and it's like, shit. Just based on history alone, Trubisky's got to be great, right?
That's a different one. I didn't know you were gonna throw Foles on that.
I like Foles, man. I just feel for him. He's had such a great story, so maybe his story's already been told, and I probably could have gone a better spot with it for a guy who hasn't had that glory. But I think he deserves a starting job. I think he is. I think he's in the conversation for one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the league. I really do.
I think Chicago Bears fans want the best quarterback there. They don't care Trubisky, Foles, whatever. Get them the guy that's going to get them wins.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. So yeah.
Time for number one.
Number one.
It should have been It would have been Super Cam.
Yeah.
But I have the other version of my Super Cam, someone that I have always been high on, somebody that I want to be this next version. I want Josh Allen to have a breakout year, and I want him to be in legitimate MVP talks.
Yeah.
I really think when you look at the weapons that he has around him, when you think of the offense and the way that it could emerge, I don't know. I'm here for it. I want to see him come out. I want to see him step out of the shadow, and I want to see him become the Tom Brady of the AFC East.
I love it. I mean, Josh Allen's been even out of that draft, he was my favorite quarterback coming out that year. I love it. Yeah, no, I'd be so excited for him. As a Dolphins fan, that would be kind of shitty, but we're not going to be good anyway, so that's fine. No, I love that pick. I know you've been high on the Bills for so long. You're really excited.
I love the strong arm. I love the physical stuff. I see a lot of the mental mistakes here and there, but he's getting better. Yeah. Last year when he went down, I think they played at Dallas on a primetime game, and they won. A lot of maturity there from what I saw. It was really good.
Absolutely. It was the Thanksgiving game where he eats the turkey after.
That's exactly what it was.
Exactly what it was. Yeah, that was a good one. So my number one, and I literally just realized that when we thought of this segment, the number one thing that was going to be on there, I didn't even put on my list. So I'm going to have two, if that's okay.
That's a little cheap. But
I know it is.
That's fine.
I didn't really put this in order too. So here's the one that's already on my list that I still really believe in. I would love to see Derrick Henry keep it going. He gets franchise tag this year. I mean, he is the reason that team got as far as they did in the playoffs. I would love to see Derrick Henry carry the Titans again. I would love to see that Derrick Henry just kind of take over the NFL and start to be talked about as like a top end, one of the best running backs in the league kind of guy, because I feel like he's always in that second tier conversation. So I would like to see that. I think that would be cool. Do you have any thoughts on that before I move on?
I mean, it would definitely solidify the pay the man argument.
Yeah, I would like to see him get paid.
I would like to see that for the city of Nashville. I would like to see. Is this like a two-ended thing where he does good and the Titans also do good as a result?
Yeah, if he's doing good, the Titans are doing good. Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm totally fine with that then, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, and then my other thing, this was the one that really should have been number one. Derrick Henry probably should have been farther down the list. I've been on the Broncos for, it seems like since last season at some point.
Where are you about to go?
Yeah, no, the Broncos. I want to see the Broncos do really well. I want to see the Broncos. Maybe obviously they're not going to win their division. They play the Chiefs twice. So that's
if we're talking top 5 hopefuls and that's your number one, just for them to do okay.
No, I want them to be.
Come on, I'm trying to get it out of you, bro.
Man, I don't want to sit here. You know what? I'm hopeful. Yes, I want to see them win their division. I believe in this team.
I love Jake Lock. He said it.
I do. I love him. And that's hope. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Jake Lock?
No,
you don't love Jake Lock. You love Drew Lock.
Drew Lock. Thank you, Drew Lock. I love the team that they have around it. I love their running backs. I love their defense is great. Vic Fangio should have been a head coach 10 years ago, but he didn't play the politics, so he never ended up getting that job. Finally gets the head coaching job, and it's looking good, and he has some good pieces around him. I'm excited for the Broncos. I believe in the Broncos. I want to see them do well. I know that they play the Chiefs twice, and it's not going to happen. And
dude, there's nothing wrong. They have a solid offensive line. They have a Melvin Gordon, Phillip Lindsay combo, a young Drew Lock, Courtland Sutton, who is a true number one, Jerry Jeudy, who could be better than Courtland Sutton.
You're making me feel better about it.
Bradley Chubb is coming back. You have Von Miller. You traded a 7th-round pick for Jarrell Casey.
Yeah.
They lost Keeb. They got AJ Bouye. That's one of the corners they got. So they have a guy up in there. They have Justin Simmons, who they franchise tagged.
You're making me feel better and better about it.
I'm just saying, it's not that bad.
It's not completely out of the realm of possibility. Yeah.
No, it's not.
I love it. I shed on you last week, and you make me feel better this week. This is awesome.
I'm here for you, man. I'll pick you up. I'll pick you up this time.
I love it. All right, so that's it. I wish I would have put on there. I know it kind of got cheesy there at the end.
That's good. But just go back into it. He said the Denver Broncos will be number 1 in the AFC West.
No.
You said they're going to win their division. I'm holding you to that.
No, I hope they win their division. I like Mahomes too. But
I hope a lot of things happen.
Exactly. I hope they're really good. I want to see them be good. All right. We'll close out there. We are going to I can't talk. Wow. At the end of the podcast right now, we are about to turn into the
Vikings.
Thank you. You're helping me out. I'm a terrible host there. I lost it. Viking interview with Dylan. That's going to be a good one. We're going to close out here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please, on YouTube, like and subscribe. Follow this channel. We have a lot of other stuff other than podcasts that comes out. So if you're just seeing the podcast, check out the rest of the videos. There's a lot of football stuff. If you're on the podcast, please subscribe and get that download every single week. It really helps us out. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Peace out, guys. And we are here with Dylan, our good friend, our good buddy, and we're ready to talk about the Vikings with you, buddy. How you been?
I'm good. How y'all, man?
We're good. All right, so we got to dive into it. First of all, Vikings just had just a shit ton of picks, right? Like they came to the draft with 12 picks, left with 15 picks, and then more picks next year. I think they got an extra 2 picks next year. So y'all made a bunch of moves, a bunch of trades. What was your favorite thing about the draft?
Justin Jefferson, and I mean, I know it's such a scripted answer at this point, but I never, in my wildest dreams, we didn't come out of the first round with Justin Jefferson. So that's hands down my favorite.
Especially with the Eagles sitting there at 21. I mean, it didn't look like there was a chance in hell that the Eagles would pass on him, and they do, and he just fell right into y'all's lap, man.
Made my draft.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I'd have bet a lot of money that the Eagles were going to take him off the board. Super stoked when they did.
Yeah, no, that was insane. Where do y'all think you would have gone if Justin Jefferson would have been taken?
Probably would have went defensive back. I don't know. I heard Mims, there a lot, but I can't help but think that we probably would have reached on the defensive back there.
I would have been very upset as a fan because me and you talked about it a lot before, both of us being Vikings fans. If we took the Jalen Reagor route, oh my gosh, I'd be up in arms. I'd be like, this is garbage.
Yeah, that would have been tough to watch.
I'd be very upset, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Vikings' expectations?
I'm expecting a big season, man. I'm expecting a big season. I hate to, just all diehard fan on it, but I'd be disappointed if we didn't come out of it with at least 10 wins and a pretty solid playoff run.
Well, there you go. I mean, we were just looking at the over/under. It's 9 wins, so you would bet the over on the Vikings here.
There is no way we don't get at least 9 wins.
I love it.
I agree, though. If we don't get 9, it's a failure.
I absolutely. It's funny just because, like, as a Dolphins fan, that 9 wins just sounds so good every single year. But I mean, that's where y'all are at. I mean, I absolutely agree. Y'all have a good team. You lock down your quarterback for a couple more years. I mean, you replace a troubled Stephon Diggs with Justin Jefferson, which is just ridiculous. And you got extra picks in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round, I think. I mean, it was just I actually really liked y'all's draft. I really did. My biggest, the player I didn't like was Cam Dantzler, the cornerback out of Mississippi State.
You didn't like him?
I didn't like Cam Dantzler. No.
Oh my God,
he's too slow. That was my big thing with him.
I love Cam Dantzler.
But I mean, man, I look at that draft. Was there any pick that you didn't like?
Nate Stanley.
I completely
quarterback
agree.
out of Iowa.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, go ahead.
I don't think we needed him. I didn't like anything I seen about him. I'd rather see us go somewhere else there.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know it's a late round pick too, but I'll go on with it because I think that there is in no way that he can step up and do a fraction of what Kirk could. I think there are better quarterbacks out there. Good Lord, not saying in the draft necessarily, but why are you going to use a pick there just to get somebody who will never amount to I'll say it. I mean, to anything.
Yeah, I mean it's a camp arm type of guy, and it's like it's a 7th round pick, so who cares? But it's still like it's it's still a pick. It still could have been a player that had a chance to make the roster and stuff, and now you're just taking a guy that's going to be a camp arm, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I absolutely.
We have an Iowa fan who listens too, so I know whenever he hears us talk smack about Nate Stanley, he's going to be like, "Oh, come on
man.
now." No, not saying he's not. You know,
he was a good college quarterback.
Yeah, and he could end up developing into something later on. I just don't think with the way that our team is set right now, I would have loved to seen a late round flyer on any of the DBs, taking a Benjamin in the 7th or any of those options sound good to me.
Oh, we lost him. Bring him back. Oh, mobile network now found.
So
that happens in interviews. We're gonna bring him back here in a second.
Yeah, we can pause it.
We're good. We got him.
Hello.
Sorry about that, buddy. We lost you.
Yeah, I literally never lost a service there in my life.
Fair enough. It happens. No worries. We're just gonna keep it going. He was talking about Nate Stanley out of Iowa. We'll move on. I was about to say, if you're only complaining about the draft as a 7th round pick, you did pretty good.
Oh, it's one of my favorite Vikings drafts we've had in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at it just from positions, just the way y'all approach the draft. You fixed all the issues you had. I mean, you attacked the 3 biggest needs: cornerback, wide receiver, and offensive line in the first 3 picks, and you added depth in a lot of different spots. I mean, I couldn't be more excited for the Vikings this year.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's really it. I mean, to find something about it that you don't like, you have to look at rounds 5, 6, and 7. I can live with that. Yeah. I think any fan could.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. So I know we asked you about your expectations, and I know they're high. So just looking at the rest of your division, with the Green Bay Packers doing what they did, and you know the Lions and Bears are obviously kind of behind the Vikings at this point, or at least they were last year. Where do you think y'all stack up just within your division and moving towards the playoffs and all that? I know we're a long way.
I think we were already ahead of Detroit and Chicago. I think the team for us to catch was Green Bay. I think this draft brought us a long way. It's a bold statement to say that you passed a team that went 13-3. I think we passed that team. I think we're at the top of the division, and I think that I would think we're the favorite to win it for sure.
It also helps whenever the Packers completely lay a fat egg on their draft and they take backup quarterback and a split carry running back with their 1st and 2nd round picks. Love it. Yes, we surpassed them.
I couldn't agree more. I absolutely agree. I think y'all are at the top of your division and have a real good shot at competing with some of the best teams in that conference.
The only thing that worries me is that it seems like every year we're talking about how the Vikings had at least a decent draft and the Packers had a below average draft. And like last year, Green Bay goes 13-3. They take the division. They make the deep playoff run. We're sitting 2nd place.
And with no cap space to make a lot of moves. That's the thing, is whenever we get this team going, minimal cap, not a lot of assets you can really move around with the money limitations. You got to stick with this band, and you got to hope that it works and goes.
Man, but if y'all hit on a lot of these guys, you have some cheap, good players for a long time. I mean, you guys just totally reloaded, and you were already a really good team. It was one of those situations where it's like, the Dolphins had to completely tear everything apart and build it back up, and they made, I think, the 13 or 14 picks. The Vikings didn't have to do any of that. They were already a good team, and they got to make almost just as many picks. Granted, a couple more in the back end of the draft, but still.
We came out of the draft with 15 players, and I've seen in a lot of places where they expect at least 10 of them to make the roster. Yeah. That's a slam dunk draft. You can't beat that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah. All right, buddy. Hey, we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you talking a little bit of Vikings with us, man.
Skol.
Ain't no problem.
All right, buddy. We'll see you.